Hey guys, welcome back to Out of the Spotlight. I am super excited about our next guest. She has been acting for pretty much all of her life and currently stars on the big hit Disney Plus series Big Shot alongside John Stamos.
I think that's one of my favorite things about acting though, is like basically sometimes I just look around at my whole crew and I'm like, almost every person here is living out their dream. Like the costumers wanted to be costumers and love it. The blah, 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 like the ADs think it's so cool. And it's like, I just get so excited that we're all collectively doing what we always wanted to do.
That is Cricket Wampler. Cricket is here to tell us all about her acting career, what we can expect on Big Shot Season 2, and I can't wait to get to know her some more. So Cricket, welcome to Out of the Spotlight.
Oh, thank you, Steph. I'm really excited to be here. I haven't chatted with too many people recently, but we're about to gear up and start chatting with more people for season 2. So I was like, this is a fun place to start.
I love it. Well, that makes me feel so special, so honored.
I am ready.
It has been a crazy last few years for you, obviously. We all know that you have a lot going on, including Big Shot. And it's such a fun show. I watched it, obviously, during the craziness that's been going on with, lockdown, COVID, and all of that. So literally my sister and I were just binge watching it. So
oh my gosh,
it is so much fun.
Thank you. I'm really glad it's fun to watch. We just had so much fun making it. And I think season 2 is even more, I don't know. It's very different, but it's very fun. I'm really glad people enjoy watching it because we have just such a blast making it.
Absolutely. And let's get to know you a little bit more.
Okay.
Where did you grow up? Kind of what were you like as a child? I think I read somewhere that you were shy, which is so cool to see that now you're like this actress who's just in front of cameras and all that. So yes, give us a little background.
Okay, so I'm from Tip City, Ohio, so just a small town in Ohio, and I would say I did grow up shy. My mom, I was just asking her about this because I remember being really shy, especially around people I didn't know, which like a lot of kids are. But I was like, Mom, when did I start getting like more outgoing? And she was like, you were young, you were whatever. And I'm like, Mom, no, I wasn't. I was like, so anyway, we're a little conflicted on this, but I do think acting, because I was trying to decide if acting brought it out of me more or what, because I'm like, when did I start really becoming like more myself and whatever? I also feel like it's just been in the recent years, maybe even since like around Big Shot time, that I've become a lot more unapologetically myself, which I feel like is so important in general. And I just feel like it's so freeing when you get to that point. But I feel like for a long time I would still be a ham occasionally, but I like kind of kept it locked away. But now I'm just like, whatever happens, happens. It's all fun. But yeah, I would say I was pretty shy, a little bit reserved. I don't know. I grew up in a house with like 5 kids existing because my cousins lived with us a lot. So that's just like a lot going on, but I was the youngest. So I think although I had my like sassy moments and like grew up with the nickname Feistina, like I definitely have my like feisty times. I can be sassy, but I definitely also was very like, I love playing by myself and I've always loved reading. So I definitely think I'm more reserved in those ways at times. Yes.
That's so funny you mentioned that, because back when I was a kid, yeah, I loved reading, and to the point that my mom was like, is she okay? Like she'll get home from school or from somewhere and she just, kind of grabs her book and she just stays there for hours. And I absolutely was a shy kid.
You do not seem shy at all. Yeah, and like I was just with a family friend the other day that has known me since I was like born. She's a bit older than me. And I felt myself being shy again because I was there with my sister. And I was like, I'm like resorting back to like how I grew up when I was like the youngest who didn't speak that much. And I was like, wait, no, I have a voice now and opinions and like whatever. But you do not seem like you were shy either. So that is so funny.
Well, you don't either. I think, yeah, it's like a comfort thing too. Like if I don't know people, or if, I don't know, I'm more of an observer. So I feel like if I go somewhere, it's more, observe, kind of feel comfortable. If I don't, I'll just keep to myself. But yeah, if it's with my friends, yeah, or with like, someone like you're so much fun. I'm like, I feel like, I feel like I know you.
Oh, thank you. Yes. I also definitely, if I get tired, resort back to like quieter. I just like to listen and I'm totally taking it all in. I can still be having a great time. But then if you're not your outgoing self, people are always like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm just tired. I'm actually so fine. Like I'm actually totally fine. Just got sleepy.
Exactly. You're just tired. And how did the acting bug hit you or bite you? How did that start? How did that come about?
Basically, so I have an older brother and an older sister. They also act. So I think it's all started with a paper. Okay, my grandma's like a newspaper article clipper outer. She's like a big fan of all that. So anyway, she clipped out this article, and I'm pretty sure had nothing to do with acting, but on the back side of it said like, come to the local whatever. There's a girl who's like been on Disney Channel that's gonna come talk. And my sister saw it and was like, and she was like 13 at the time, and she was like, what? Like blah 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 is gonna be talking. Like I want to go. So anyway, she went. My brother went. They started taking classes at the place that this girl went, just locally, and they started liking it. And then they did like an expo, whatever. And again, at this point, my mom was like, do you want to do it too? And I was like, like I'm too shy. I don't want to do that at all. And so then I was only also like in second grade at the time. So then my sister and brother started coming out to LA for little spurts of time. And so one time I was out here with them, visiting, and because they were out here for longer term, and I was just like coming to visit, and their agent, or no, their managers were like, are you sure you don't want to try acting, little one, whatever? And I was literally like, no, I'll try it. And everyone was like, what?
Oh,
what?
You did?
Yes. I was like, I'll try it. And so they were like, what? Because my mom was like, I ask her that every day. Like, she doesn't normally want to. But I think I just saw that they were like having fun. And I was like, I kind of want to be with my family and whatever. And so not to brag, but I then ended up booking the first commercial of the family. So
congratulations.
I just laugh now because really, if I hadn't lucked into a couple commercials at the beginning, we wouldn't still be out here. But then if my brother he booked like way more commercials than my sister and I. So if he hadn't booked all that he had, we wouldn't still be out here. But if Carrie hadn't booked the first movie, we wouldn't still be out here. So it's like so crazy how it all worked out. But yes, so pretty much since then when I was like 8, I really never looked back. I was like, no, it's really fun. And then, I mean, once you step foot on a set, I think I don't feel like people feel neutral about set. You either are like literally living your dream, having the best time, or maybe you hate it. I don't know many people that hate it, but it's like, it's addicting completely. I think that's one of my favorite things about acting though, is like basically sometimes I just look around at my whole crew and I'm like, almost every person here is living out their dream. Like the costumers wanted to be costumers and love it. The blah, blah, blah. Like the ADs think it's so cool. And it's like, I just get so excited that we're all collectively doing what we always wanted to do. Like, I just think it's so cool. Cause I feel like depending on your job, of course, teachers might have always wanted to be teachers, and that's super awesome. But it's just so cool to see that many people, because I feel like a lot of people don't love their jobs. I'm like, everyone here really like wants to be here. Maybe someone's having a bad day, but everyone wants to be here.
And what you just mentioned too, all of you are coming together to make something happen, and you literally see your work. Like you get to see the finished product.
It is so crazy.
And it's teamwork.
It is so crazy.
Yeah.
It literally takes a village, and we're so grateful for every single person. That's why I feel like I hear of a lot of people not being the nicest to crews or whatever, but I'm like, those are our, like, the girls and I are like, this is our family. We would not be able to do it without you guys. It's so funny because we all have different crew members that we're like closest with, but like we all love everybody. And it's just like, it takes just as much from them. Also, some of them get there before us and leave after. Like it's like you are putting in so much work. We respect you greatly and are so grateful for you.
Okay, so you did commercials.
Yes.
After that, I know you did a few fun projects.
Yes.
So talk to us a little bit about that and how, maybe like, how about your first one? Like the first like big one that you were like, oh my gosh, I'm getting to do this.
Okay. The first one, the first like theatrical I did was just a guest spot on Disney Plus, or no, sorry, whoops, not Disney Plus, Disney XD's Crash and Bernstein. So I was really excited about that. I will say that I had tested twice for the main girl on that. So I was just playing her friend in it. So I was not salty by any means, but I was like, I could have been the main girl and now I'm just this girl. But I was still so excited to be there. So it was very fun. And also had to work with like a puppet thing, because Crash and Bernstein was like a puppet thing. So it was very like, that added an aspect that I was like, haven't had to work with since, you know what I mean? Definitely funny. But that was looking back, a weird way to film, because I just had like one scene. So I just went in for like a morning. I did my school. I filmed the scene. It's kind of a blur. And then I left, but everyone was very nice. And it was just like so surreal. I don't know. I was like, this is so interesting. Like, this is what goes on. And then I think a couple of the projects after that really got me even more excited, just because I got to be a little bit more a part of them. But so that one was only like a half a day. So it felt a little bit more like I got a taste. It was almost torture because I got a taste, but I couldn't stay that long.
Yeah. And what moment would you say that maybe you realize this is what I want to do, like full time? This is what I feel is my calling.
Wow. I mean, not to sound crazy, but I feel like when I literally said, yes, I'll try acting, I just have yet to like think anything different. And I love dance and I like to teach dance and I love that aspect, but I would say I I mean, occasionally was like, do I want to dance instead? I would always check. I'd always make sure that I was like still doing what I wanted, but I was like, no, like literally being on set is absolutely what I would choose to do every single day of the year, anytime. I also think when I was little, I wanted to be a teacher. And so sometimes I'm like, I still love the idea of that. Not more than I love acting, but like I probably would have been a teacher had I not started acting. I'm like, that's really cool, but like that just path did not happen for me. And like,
so you like kids then?
I go in spurts, actually. I accidentally have baby fever at the moment, so I'm trying to get annoyed with kids, but it's not working out that well because the more kids I see, the more I'm in love. But yeah, so I definitely do, yes, like kids always have. But I think I have actually learned, God saved me on that one from being a teacher. I am not as patient as I would like to be. So I think sometimes I have like so much patience until I don't. And the second I don't, it's over. So I do teach dance and like, because that's like a couple hours at a time. You know, I can handle that a lot more. But I think if I was working with kids all day, every day, I would have a shorter fuse than teachers probably should. So I think I was saved from that.
What you just mentioned too about the patience too. One of my best friends, she's a teacher, and I mean, she loves her job, she loves it. But the story she's told me, I'm like, I think by noon, I would be like, can I just give y'all back?
No, I think about that. I'm like, okay. And that's one thing I'm always like, please just help me with my patience. Like, I need to be patient. But I'm like, I think I could have been in a field and been like, shoot, I love this, but I'm running out of whatever. I also definitely I can be very high energy, but I think I crash pretty easily too then. I'm also like, I would be such a fun teacher for a couple of hours. And then I would like teach a dance class and then look in the mirror and be like, you're fine. You're going to be okay. Just get home and it's going to be fine, because I just like run out of energy. I just hit a wall.
And what type of dance do you teach?
Kind of depends. I had a giant spurt where I taught like mostly acrobatics, which is not my favorite. My studio just kind of needed that. I do like acrobatics.
That's so cool. Yeah.
But I've taught contemporary, jazz, ballet. I'm not a tapper, but most every other style. Hip hop occasionally. I'll sub sometimes. So anyway, I'm not teaching anything at the moment just because my work schedule's so crazy. But I do love jumping in anytime I can. I think that's another thing that really helped me bring me out of my shell. It's so weird how like all your life works together, because I think that I remember when I was younger in dance, when I was like 8 or like maybe even 6 to 8, I was so shy that I would like watch all the girls dance and be like, wow, they're so sassy, they're so cool, but I could not do it. And so I remember like wanting to, but not being able to because I was that shy. But then I remember like when I started dancing it, so I took a break from like 8 to 12 maybe. And when I was 12, I came back and was like, I am sassy and I am here and I am going to be dancing my heart out. So I think that, yeah, really a lot of things helped I think dance definitely brought out a lot of the confidence and more like, again, kind of unapologetically my selfness that there is in me, I think comes from dance, but it just helped me so much in my acting. So I love when things all tie together.
And did you play basketball or no?
Okay. Let me just say, no.
I know. Let's talk about that.
We get this question so much, and I totally would want to know too. So I think it's funny that we get it. But some of us played and some of us had not really. I had played in like the 5th grade, like 1 year at coincidentally, the place I played in the 5th grade, we ended up training at this past season when we needed somewhere to train. So I was like, this is so full circle. I was like, this is where I played in the 5th grade. So anyway, so bizarre. But I will say my dad played basketball in college. I have cousins that played basketball in college or still do. So I definitely have always been around basketball. I knew the rules. I've always loved watching it and cheering it on. So it was not a foreign thing to me, but playing it was never, I was like, I'll be dancing instead. But I always played it growing up in like a driveway. Like I did like basketball, but hadn't played it too much. So when they had us test and they were like, you're going to be playing for like before you're even cast, we were like, okay. So my dad helped me. My manager actually helped me too. He was a really good basketball player. And then my brother helped me. So by the time we tested, they had seen, yes, it took a village. It took a village. And then when we were testing, they were like, we did not go with the best basketball players, but we did go with the actors we wanted. And we were like, but they at least had seen that we like could maybe have potential to learn.
Dribble.
Yeah. And then we have trained quite a bit since then. And I think all of us have come a very long way. So we have a couple, well, I don't know how much I can say, but we had some people who were in practice with us that had not been in practice with us last season. So it was so funny to watch them learn from the basics again, because we were like, we're by no means good, but like, wow, we've come a long way. We were like them. So it was really fun to like really get to realize how far we'd come, because we were like, oh, actually for a layup, you want to go this leg, then this leg. And it's like, we're helping them learn now. And it's like, we didn't even know this. Well, maybe we knew that, but like, it's just funny.
That is so cool. And then your dad, he coached as well, right?
He did. Yes, he did. He coached, high school basketball, I think before I was born. And then he also did he would do like the radio at the college he went to, his basketball stuff, or he would announce. So it was really fun. I was like, it's always just been around and a part of it. So I would always go watch when he would announce, because it was just too fun. So yeah.
So it's like you were around sports. Obviously,
Yes.
you were acting. You were especially around basketball. So yes. This is like full circle for you.
Definitely.
It's so crazy.
And I was like bittersweet when I found out I booked a basketball show, because I was like, my family will want to, like, my extended family will want to watch because they love basketball, because they play, or like their siblings play or whatever. But then I was like, they're going to judge me. They're going to like watch my every move. Like, they're going to know. Literally one time I got a text from my uncle, and he was like, did I just watch you miss a layup in the background? And I was like,
oh my God.
Can I just say that we did layups for like 8 hours that day, and I missed like 2. And of course that ended up in the show. But I was like, are you kidding me?
So they're literally watching the skill side.
Literally. I was like, thank you, Uncle Jeff, for pointing that out. Thank you very much. Actually, I did miss that.
Oh, okay. So now let's go to Big Shot. We talked a little bit about it in the beginning, but I mean, this is such an awesome show. And I do feel like it doesn't matter what age you are, you can watch this. And it's like feel good. It does have some drama. It's obviously sports. It's basketball. How did this all come together? What was the audition process like? Do you remember kind of like the audition and how you were feeling?
Oh, goodness. Okay, so I have a lot to say about this, so I'll try to like not say too much. But I will say, again, kind of with the confidence thing, I have very much always been a little bit of a timid person. I'm always like, well, I also very people pleasery. So I'm like, I'll just be quiet and like help when someone needs me and like da da da. And this audition, I think it was the training I had leading up to it, but I also hadn't had that many auditions that year. So I was like, well, I have nothing to lose because I don't even get that many like whatever. So I literally remember walking in and being like, I think they need me. I think that they need me, and I don't even like, I have nothing to lose, and whatever. I'm like, they need me, whatever, which I was just bluffing. I was just saying it to feel it. You know what I mean? Like, so I was just like, I think that this is like, it's all going to be fine. So I remember going into the audition, feeling pretty good about it. But I will say, I knew that like my sister had auditioned for it. Like everyone was auditioning for this show. So I just felt like, okay, everyone's auditioning, like it's fine, but it was still fun to audition, whatever. So I did feel really good walking out of the audition. I can't really recall exactly how it went, but I do have more on the callback. So then also, we all auditioned for the role of Louise, which I think is really, really interesting. So the first round was everyone was Louise. So then when you found out you got a callback, you got redirected to one of the other roles. So you you could be Louise. So it was like Louise, Destiny, Mouse, and Olive. So you were one of those. So I got called back in for Olive, which obviously Monique Green ended up playing Olive. But that my sister got called back for Olive. So I was like, okay, everyone's getting called back because me and my sister got called back. So I was like, it was so funny because I was just like, I felt like, again, everyone was there and like, whatever. And so, and then looking back, I think it was, at the callback, I saw, that's when I like didn't realize, but I met like Tiana and Tisha were in the waiting room with me. And my friend Jessie, who tested but didn't end up on the show, but she's doing so many other cool projects now. I'm so proud of her. But it's just so weird because we were all in there together. And so, but it was drop pin silent. We sat there for like an hour and a half and no one spoke a word. So it was very like, tension was high. It didn't feel like cutthroaty, but it was definitely like, oh my gosh. So then going into the callback, I messed up a singular line 3 times. And that was not my favorite moment, but I picked myself up. I was like, it's going to be fine, whatever. And they were so sweet about it. I love that casting. Malcolm Miller is incredible. Thank you, Malcolm Miller. You helped me so much. But they were so sweet to let me keep trying and whatever. But the funny part is I walk out and I was like, psh, I just blew it. Like I just read this, whatever, that line 3 different times. I could not say sedentary. Sedentary is the word. I remember the word because we have beef now. And so anyway, but I get in the car and I'm talking and then my sister comes out of the audition and she's talking to my mom and she gets in the car and she goes, well, I just blew it. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, I just messed up a singular line 3 times. And I said, what line? And we both go sedentary. We both walked in there and messed up the same line 3 times. like 10 minutes apart from each other. Also, we'd never even practiced the lines together one time because that's like would really throw you off. I feel like to hear your sister doing it, whatever. So we were like, the fact that we both just messed up, we were like cracking up and we were like, we're never hearing from them again. This is too funny. Whatever. So when I got the call I was testing, I was like, really? Like, are you sure? Then when we tested, that's when we did the basketball test. And there were like 8 girls for the 4 roles, but everyone was also reading for this Giggles role that like was untitled and like didn't really have a breakdown and it was kind of confusing. And she was just in like this one giant mix and match scene. So then basically we finished testing. I was like, I don't know how that went. I really liked all the girls. Honestly, I think we're pretty much all still in contact, even the girls who didn't get the show, because everyone was just so sweet and supportive. And especially since we had to play basketball and stuff together because they all tested for it, it was like we just really bonded. And so then I found out pretty quickly that I didn't book Olive because that's the role I tested for, because I kind of had the vibe they liked Monique, so I was like, whatever, she can have it, it's fine. So anyway, because she's too perfect for Olive. It was so great. And so that's why then they called me, but they were like, but there is this Giggles character and they're going to see if they can make it a series regular, and they're going to see if like they're going to send in your tape, whatever. So when I booked it, I was like, well, that came out of nowhere because this wasn't even a character and like whatever. And then Giggles' name was Samantha, and then the rest was history.
Oh my goodness. That is such a cool story. And I love hearing that because we don't often get to hear the whole process, right? We just get to watch the finished product. Yeah. So it sounds like a little bit of a roller coaster ride.
And especially for series regulars, we didn't have that much of a process. Like audition, callback, testing, that's very short. Like there were things that I had gone back on like 8 times in my life and still didn't even test for. So it was a very like short process, which I kind of appreciated. It dragged over a little bit of time, but it was very like, it was just a very cool process. And I loved that we got to like bond and get to know each other in the testing process, because it's normally very cutthroat, but it's also like, we are going to be a team, but also people are here for the same roles. And like, we just didn't know how it was going to go. So it was definitely a very positive. I remember we all talked about it since, and we were all so nervous that everyone was going to be really mean and we were going to be the only one not knowing how to play basketball. And then it all turned out we were all terrible at basketball. And
yes, but you brought the characters to life. I mean, that's clearly what they saw. Yeah. And what can you tell us about your character, Samantha?
Ooh, Samantha. Okay, so again, because she was kind of written, so when I tested, everyone was prepared to test. Only 2 of us did, but she just kind of, I think it said optimistic and giggly. That was all we knew. So like normally you have like a paragraph of like things about the person, their background, whatever. She just didn't have that. So they didn't give us much. And I will say, when testing in the basketball portion, I am a very big cheerleader. I love cheering people on. I love watching sports. I love whatever. And like when it comes to dance, I'm always like, you just killed. Like I love cheering people on. So I was like, Cricket, you are not going to be the best basketball player there, but you might be the best cheerleader, and every team needs team spirit. Okay. And so there wasn't my friend Jessie also was very good at cheering people on, and everyone was super supportive. But I was just like, but also I just in me, I'm just like, oh my gosh, good job. Like I get so excited for people. So I think that there's a little bit of that in Samantha for sure. I think they might have like seen it and kind of brought it out of her, but like that also is kind of optimistic as well. It kind of goes hand in hand. But I think Samantha, gosh, I always like, this question always stumps me for some reason, because I try to think about how I feel about her versus how her lines are versus how she reads versus how, like, I don't know, it kind of all comes together. But Samantha is definitely a good friend. She loves her friends. You will see her go through a lot more in season 2, which I really appreciated.
Cool.
Yes, because I feel like in season 1, I had a total blast, but I feel like Samantha was kind of just like she has her airheady kind of moments and very like one note, but definitely a foodie, but that's a side note. Anyway.
Yeah.
And so season 2, she definitely gets some more depth and kind of like lives some more life and goes through some more things. So I think you'll definitely get to see more sides to her, which I really was so excited to portray. And I hope I portrayed it okay, but I'm very excited to see. But yeah, so I think that is really fun. And then, yeah, she just kind of, I don't know, she's just come a long way. And so they definitely, basically towards the end of season 1, I remember being like, how do you like, I forget, I was talking to one of the writers about Samantha, and they were like, we just like saw how you were and like wrote it. Like, I don't know. And I was like, well, I had no idea. I was really glad.
I'm telling you, you brought the character to life.
No. I was just glad I did not know that, or I would have been way too nervous if I knew they were watching me and like kind of going off of how I am in real life. So yes, I do think that she has some similar tendencies to me. Some things I purposely made a little bit different because I can't decide. So there's like playing a character super different from you is definitely very hard because it's not you. But also playing a character so similar to you can also be difficult in different ways because you still have to keep it real, but it's also not your words, but it's kind of like you. I don't know how to describe it. It's definitely more complex than I thought it would be.
Or like, oh, am I doing this right? Or there's more questions to it.
Yes. And it's like, am I talking like myself completely? Because I am a character, but also I am like me, but also blah, blah, blah. So it's just like funny how much you can like.
You've done a great job. I'm telling you, Samantha literally was one of my favorite characters. First episode I watched, I was like, I like her. And the fact that you're saying that we get to learn more about her in season 2, that makes me happy.
Thank you very much. No, it's really fun.
You guys were shooting during COVID, right? Was it during lockdown?
Yes.
So was that wild?
Yes. So I think that's another thing. It's like there's only so much that is like there's being a new actor, being new to being a series regular, and then there's encountering something that no one has ever done. No one's ever experienced that. No one knew what they were doing. Didn't matter if you're John who's been on however many shows, or if you're us who it was our first. Like it did not matter. Everyone was like, "What the heck is going on?" Or if you're Yvette Nicole Brown, everyone, Jesselyn Gilson, they've all been on a bunch of stuff. It's so cool, but it's like, what the heck? Like we don't know how to. So basically, we had started filming. I think we were 4 episodes in when COVID hit. So for the next 6 episodes, it took us like a year and a half to film them, as opposed to we filmed season 2 in 3 months, 2.5 months. And we filmed season 1. It literally, we started season 1 in 2019 and wrapped it in 2021. It took us 3 calendar years. So it was just such a bizarre experience. So scary in so many ways. We had, people get COVID or false positives that freaked us out because we didn't even know what that meant and like all this stuff. So it definitely was just like so much happening that it just was definitely all uncharted territory and very scary. And also to be technically frontline workers, we're like going into work and we're like, but we're just actors. Like, I don't really know. But also we loved our work. So we were like, we wanted to go, but also whatever. So definitely bizarre. And literally the 2 seasons, I loved both for so many reasons. But season 2 was like a breath of fresh air of like easiness when it came to what we had encountered in the first season. And it still had its things that, were stressful or tricky or whatever, but it was just worlds apart.
I don't know if you can answer this, but do we get to see more of a crowd in season 2? I know in season 1, I mean, like the games and I don't know, it seemed like obviously for people that know, we're like, okay, they shot this during COVID. Yes. There's less of a crowd.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say either, but I will say yes. As far as I can remember, we definitely had more crowd, more background. Yes, because we did have to be strategic. They were like, because of this, we can't have a crowd. And it's like, this is so, you got to dive deep. Yes, they got creative with it. And we'll always be able to laugh and look back and be like, that's because we were filming in COVID. But yes, I would say season 2 to me felt just like a very normal season of a show, like in all the best ways, because I was like, it just feels like we're back. Of course, we're, masked and shielded somewhat, but I was like, it just like, we're back. It just feels a lot better. And I feel like because there was a year in between the 2 seasons, so many shows had been filming and so many whatever that it just like people knew what to do more, I feel like. And it definitely, all worked out.
And we'll be right back with some rapid fire questions.
Rapid fires totally stress me out, but I would love to participate for you.
You got this. It'll be easy. Okay. Okay, so it's called Steph It Up.
Very cute. I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth.
First question. Favorite TV show?
I'm already gasping for air. Friends, How I Met Your Mother. I love both of those.
Have you watched How I Met Your Father yet?
I am midway through it, and I like it. It's just so different that I kind of forget it's even an association almost.
Comfort food?
Ooh, so many. I'm such a foodie, but pan cheese pizza from Pizza Hut, peanut butter pretzels, anything peanut butter actually at all. Peanut butter and jelly, grilled cheese, curly fries, dessert, ice cream.
Check, and check. Yes.
Yeah.
Favorite vacation spot?
I love Hawaii. It's probably one of my favorites. I also love Disney World, particularly over land. So, and that's more vacation-y since I don't live there. But probably Hawaii, but I also love Michigan where my family goes. Oh gosh, I'm just like very indecisive. I love a lot of places. I'll say Hawaii.
Speaking of Disney, favorite Disney movie?
I am gonna go really off the wall, and I'm sure I'll think back later and be like, why did you, I'll think of my actual favorite potentially. I'm gonna say Toy Story 3.
Ooh.
Plot twist. I love that movie so much. I think honestly part of it is the kids in it. I love the daycare aspect. I think it's so cute. But I just love that movie. Every time I cry, like it's so good. I don't know, Toy Story 3 just came to mind. It's also probably one of them that I've seen like fully through more recently maybe, but I mean then there's like Up. Okay, come on. I love Up. Like I could go on. But yes.
Someone you'd like to work with in the future?
Oh gosh, that's really hard. There are so many incredible actors that I would be so honored to work with. Jennifer Aniston comes to mind just because I love her so much. But I don't know.
Y'all would do well together. I can see that. Let's call it.
I have so many that I love. I would also love to work with my siblings at some point, because I think that would be really fun. We did like a infomercial way back in the day together, but I don't count that. I would love to like purposefully work with my sibling one day. That would be fun. But there are just too many actors. Like my brain is completely blanking, and so many like legends I can't even think of at this time.
Oh, for sure. Okay, favorite basketball player?
Am I allowed to say my cousin?
Yes.
Justin Arns and Kyle Arns. They play in college.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I guess I'll just go with that. I get very invested and I'll fall in love with the team and learn it all. But I think maybe it's because I read so much or something. I have the worst memory long term where I can pack so much in. And I love whatever, but like even a book, like I will read it. It'll be my favorite book. And like a year later, I'm like, I remember I love it, but I have no idea what happens.
Thank you. I have the worst memory. I kid you not.
I feel like such a fake fan on everything because I'm like, it's my favorite movie. I don't remember what happens though.
Okay, comedy or drama?
Wait, to watch or to be in?
Ooh, I like this. It's very tricky. Okay, let's do to watch.
To watch? I'm a rom-com girl. Romantic comedies are like my favorite, but I love watching drama as well and thrillers. All of it. I love watching all of it, but I would say probably comedy.
What about to be in?
That's really hard because I've really only ever been in comedy or dramedy. I have never done something super dramatic, but I definitely love to push that envelope at some point. But I also am so content with the work that I've done and like love filming what I've filmed that honestly, if someone was like, you're never going to do drama, you're going to stay where you're at forever, I'd be like, okay. Like, honestly, I love what I do. I feel like a lot of actors I know really want to cross over or do it all or whatever. And like, that would be so awesome if I have that opportunity. But I do have so much fun with the silliness that I get to do that I'm like, I'm chilling.
So I love to ask this question when it comes to athletes and, you know, people that have teammates or work with a lot of people. So I'm going to ask it, but in a different way.
Okay.
So I usually ask, if you were stranded on a deserted island, like which one would you choose to be with? Like 3? But since it's like literally like it's like 5 of you, so I'm going to say, okay, so if all of you are stranded on a deserted island, what do you think each one would kind of bring to the island, like bring to the table? Like how do you think they would help? And we're going to start with Nell.
Okay. Nell would bring anxiety and snacks.
Oh my God.
She's definitely like me. We actually don't do that well together when it comes to stressful situations.
If someone doesn't say that about me, I would be so upset because that would be me.
I love her so much. I'm close enough with her. I think I can say that. But like we had to quarantine together a couple times when people had COVID or we were freaking out. And like we are just like anxiety on anxiety, like, oh my gosh. So then like when I have to calm her down, I'm like, well, you must be bad because I'm really bad. And so this is even worse. So anyway, but she's also very much a snacker. I think she would bring some good snacks. So she might bring that.
Anxiety and snacks. I mean, what a combo.
If we happen to be on a deserted island, this may be what's going on. Just in situations like that, she's very like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Like, I don't really, and it's so funny. So that's probably where I'd go.
And what about Tiana?
Ooh, okay. Tiana is very strong in all aspects. Nell is also very strong. I will give her that. But she like very like, I don't know. I feel like she's very everything's under control. Tiana is literally like, what's going on? Oh no, it's not going on because actually I'm going to solve it right now. And like, I love that about her because she's just very, nothing's a problem. I don't feel like she doesn't get worked up over much. She's very chill. And I feel like she also is so hilarious that she would bring all the comedy we could ever need. So yeah, love that girl.
Yeah, I need people like that in my life, like absolutely, to kind of calm me down a bit.
Yes, she'll help me be like, you don't care about this actually. And I'm like, you're right, I don't. But why am I acting this way anyway? Literally, but I'm still stressed. Yeah.
Okay, up next, Tisha.
Oh, I love Tisha. She's so sweet. She's so tender. I think that she would just bring like sweetness. She would probably bring books, which would be a benefit for all of us because we're both readers like that. And so I think that she would bring that. And also, she's also kind of, yeah, like peaceful. Like, I don't think she gets very worked up about things that much either.
That's a good answer.
She'd be fun to have around.
And what about Monique?
Monique. Okay, so I would say Mo would probably bring definitely a little bit of sass. She like is so funny because I feel like we're both so different, but I would call us both sassy. And it just makes me laugh when people are that different but have the same quality. But she's also nothing is a problem for Monique. She's very like, what do you mean we're on an island stranded? Like she's so zen. Now or Monique is so zen. So like she would be like, not a problem. She would not care. Like she would care, but she would like be fine. But also she's also like a bit older than some of us. So I think that she brought like a motherly, like, it's gonna be taken care of. Like, don't even worry about it. Like, kind of like that type of aspect. So yeah, she's a funny one. Miss her.
And we're gonna have to throw this in. What about Sophia?
Sophia! I would say Sophia is so caring and just so she would be the one that if anyone is freaking out, she'd be like, how can I help you? Like, what is like, but she's so sweet. So I think that she would bring that. I think she's very smart, as is Tisha, as is Tiana, Nell, and Monique are as well. Like, they're all very smart. And so I think that she would come up with very logical, I think she might be the one to get us off the island. Like, she is very, like, I think Thea is very bright, and I think that she would be like, I think this is what we need to do.
A map.
Yes, honestly, probably mapping it out. She would also have books with her. Yes. So, yes. Honestly, I feel like, I'm just saying, if we were on an island, I think we wouldn't be on that island for years. And I think we'd make it off the island at some point, I think.
It sounds like it.
We all come together. Tiana's also very much a foodie. And so, like, we're all foodies. So it's like we would all be bringing food. Some of us would be bringing the books. A lot of them sing. They'd all be bringing the tunes for us. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, you can do a little dance.
Yeah, I'll dance for us. But also, I feel like if I was on an island with them, I would be the one that would get us into some pickles. Like, I think that I would be like, oops, I was flirting with this guy and he tried to kill me.
So remember that fish that y'all wanted me to cook?
I think we'd stay in trouble because of me, potentially. Maybe.
What's it been like working with the John Stamos?
I would just say John, oh my gosh, is quite literally out of pocket in all the best ways. Not only because he literally keeps snacks in his pockets and will just be munching, but literally I love that. He's just the guy who will say things you didn't expect him to speak. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he'll just say things. And he's just always trying to make us laugh, and he's very fun. I truly think he's just such a great first person on a cast list because he just sets such an incredible tone for all of us. He's a lot of fun. He's just funny, and like he wants us to be having a good time, and you can see that. Sometimes he's literally like, are you guys having fun right now? And we're like, yeah. And he's like, okay, good. And it's like, that's so sweet. Like, you know what I mean? It's just not, yeah. And I think he's also surrounded by so much girl power. So I'm just like, I hope he's having a good time because we are, but it's funny. Yeah, no, he's great.
Now that you mentioned girl power, isn't that crazy that he's been surrounded with a lot of girl power here, and Full House, obviously, with the girls. Isn't that crazy?
You're right.
He's such a good leader. I do feel that. And playing Coach Corn, I feel like he is obviously that guy that you're like, okay, yes, sir. Okay, fine. But then he also brings like that human aspect and that very kind, understanding aspect. And did you know he was going to be in the show when you auditioned, or?
Funny story. So no. Stephanie, can I just say, I can like swear on my life I would not be on this show if I knew John Stamos was on this show before I auditioned. Because I do a great job of psyching myself out. And I would have been like, you'd be working with Uncle Jesse. You do that too. I was like, you'd be working with Uncle Jesse. Like, I like blah, blah, blah. So like, absolutely not. We had heard a rumor when we were like testing, or maybe we already booked it, that like maybe Vince Vaughn would be in it. And so I was kind of going off of that and was like, I guess whatever. Like, and I think Vince Vaughn's awesome too. I didn't care. But when I found out it was John, my managers told me, because it was rumored first, my jaw, we were at dinner, I think it hit the table because I was literally like, what? I was like, no way. It did not feel real. So anyway, I had to play it cool for a while. I didn't want John to be too freaked out by like how much I was a fan. And I don't even know if he still knows, but it also is so weird when you get to know somebody, because now I'm like, he's just John. Like, I don't even think about it that way. But when I first found out, I was like, what? because I grew up on Full House. That was just completely what I watched.
Same. So it was really cool to see him in this role because I grew up on Full House, and it's like, especially with so many seasons that they had, you almost feel like, this is like someone that's part of the family because you have them on. And have you figured out his secret to never aging and great hair yet?
I wish. I wish. I don't know. He's so funny and, like I said, off the wall, out of pocket. Like, I don't know. So honestly, I don't like. He's just like bizarre in the best ways.
Snacks.
Yeah, he eats snacks. He'll just be like eating yogurt for like the whole first season. We like didn't see him eat like he ate, like he was always in his trailer when he ate. But then like we'd start to see him. But then like one time he was just like, and we were like, what was that? And he was like, pretzels. And we're like, what are you doing? Like, you're so funny. So he just is like so funny. But I really don't know. I need to really see what brand of water he's drinking because there's something in it for sure.
Please let me know too if you find out.
I'll share the wealth.
Oh, I love that. And what message would you like, I guess, for female athletes to leave with after watching this show?
Whoa, that's like hard. Okay, I guess something that I take away from the show, or I hope people do, I don't know how to describe this. Like, this is just kind of how I see it, even, or kind of try to portray it, even if that doesn't come across always. I do think that the teamwork and team relationships are just so, so important. And I think you can see, I'm trying to think back to what happens in every episode, but I think you can see when there's strife in the teammates, how the team is just not working the same. And it's just so important to, I can understand, I feel like I'm a pretty friendly person and I would love it if everybody loved me as a person, but that's not realistic and that's not life. And I don't love every person because, well, I do love everybody, but I don't like everybody. Anyway.
I love that you're saying that, by the way. Some people learn that way later on.
Yes. So I feel like it's my duty to love everybody. I do love everybody, but I don't necessarily get along with every person. And so I think that realizing we're a team, we love being a team. I love my team. You might not be my favorite person, but we all, I mean, if you really think about it, everyone has the same goal. You want to do well. You want to succeed as a team. So I think just remembering to work as a team and be a team because it's just like all you have. Depending on your sport, maybe you play singles tennis and then you can just disregard this, but be on good terms with yourself.
Oh, I like that. Be on good terms with yourself.
Thanks. I just made it up right now.
And what is something that you've learned about yourself while working in the industry?
Ooh. First off, I've learned that I'm an introvert. No, I'm just kidding. But I think that I'm definitely outgoing. So I'm definitely an outgoing introvert. So people assume you're an extrovert a lot of times.
Oh my gosh. I've never had anyone tell me this. That's literally me. Yes. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand.
Yes. So I would say I will work, a 16-hour day and I will be, of course, trying to be so sweet and outgoing to everybody because I'm standing there in the grip next to me. He's like, how's your day? And I'm not going to be like, fine. Like, I'm going to answer and like, ask how his day is and whatever. So it's like constantly talking and being so outgoing for that many hours a day. I have to go home and recharge. Like that is just, so then I'm like, people want night plans with me and I'm like, I can't focus. I can't go out. So I definitely have learned that I am an introvert. But no, I think I've definitely, with acting in general, I don't know. I think I learned you do crazy things for like things. This can be for relationships too, but like you do crazy things for the things you love. Like you do things that don't make sense if it's what's meant to be. And so like, I think that is like, I didn't work for 5 years before booking Big Shot and I was still hustling just as much and whatever. And it's like any logical person probably would have been like, maybe this isn't my route. Maybe I don't want to do this anymore. Maybe I don't want to. And I was literally like, it never entered my mind. I was like, this is what I love to do. This is what I will do. So I think just like throwing logic away sometimes is more important than I ever thought it would be.
I love that.
Thank you.
And I also say, if I'm no longer having fun or enjoying it, maybe it's time to go a different direction. Absolutely. And for you, I mean, those 5 years, you were still hustling, not only, your love and your passion for this, but also you as a hard worker and you landed Big Shot. I mean, how cool is that? You didn't give up.
No, I think about that all the time. I'm like, I'm speechless because I'm literally like, Big Shot is just one of the biggest blessings in my life. And I mean, more than anything, some of my closest friends came out of that show. I'm like, these are girls that like, I plan on knowing forever. They're going to be aunts to my kids. Like I know them so well. And it's so crazy to me that like, it's just wild. And even just the testing process, cause I'm still close friends with some of the girls I met through the process of it. And I'm like, this is so much fun. Like, So yes, I definitely agree with that.
I'm sure there are highs, lows. What do you do to kind of take care of you?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. I feel like mental health is so important, and a lot of times my mental health can ride on if I'm like me being really physically active helps a lot with my mental health personally. So I would say staying on top of working out, it's just as important to me mentally as it is physically. So I would say that is definitely something that alters. It's also really fun to love something enough that even when I'm working, I'll be like, well, I don't have to work out every day of the week, obviously, but I'm gonna work at 5 a.m., but I'm gonna work out after, or I'm going in at 8 today, so I'm gonna try to get a workout in before. So like I think really altering because I want to work out, like you know what I mean? It's like having your priorities. So I think also priorities and knowing yourself and what brings you energy, joy, whatever, to get through every single day is so important. So I think that that's another thing I definitely focus on. For me, doing a Bible study every day, like really brings me a lot of joy. And it's like, well, if that, then make time for it. You know what I mean? Or if I want to read, it's like, well, make time for it. So I think it's just like, especially because we can get so preoccupied with social media or just like wasting time on our phones or whatever, which can be really fun. But sometimes I'm like, Cricket, you could have read a whole entire book. Like, why'd you just do that? So I think I'm trying to be a little bit more aware of that and just kind of being purposeful with my time and purposeful even when I'm like with people. I'm like, Cricket, you're here and this is what's in front of you. And let's pay attention to this. I just saw TikTok the other day, me like pretending I'm not on TikTok all the time when I am. But I saw TikTok. I actually wasn't on yesterday at all. But I saw TikTok and it was saying like, you're never going to be in any moment again. Like, so that's like another way to like just kind of realize like, never going to be talking to you again, at least on this day in this way. So it's just like helped me realize like, I a lot of times am very preoccupied. I also am such a planner. I'll be like talking to you, thinking about when I'm going to wash my hair next and what workout I should do before that. And I'm like, Cricket, be in this moment. What are you doing? So I think I'm working on being present. And I honestly don't even remember your original question, but I could continue to talk for 5 more minutes.
No, but that's so cool you mentioned that because I think it was, I don't know, 2 interviews ago, but I told my friend who was my guest that I am working on just being more present and also not trying to control everything,
It's
just
tough.
kind of letting it happen. It's so hard, but I'm working on that.
No, yeah. I'm proud of you for that because it's such a challenge. But my sister had called me out. I live with my sister and she calls me out on it a lot. And I think that helps me because she's like, Cricket, I don't know what time I'm going to dinner. And I'm like, but if you could just tell me because then I will back up my plan to the minute for when I need to shower, for when I need to work out. And she's like, can you just calm down? So I think, she definitely helps me stay in check sometimes. Cause I'm like, you're right. I don't need to know. We'll just ride the wave. It's going to be okay. I also very like trust the process. So that's what doesn't make sense. I'm like, need to be in control. But then sometimes I'm like, no, but I trust the process. So it'll be fine. So I'm very selective on what I'm super controlling over.
I always say, everything happens for a reason. Yes. Yet I'm still trying to
make everything happen for the reason that I want. Yes. I feel you.
Also, something you mentioned earlier about after your long days, you're like, I just want to be alone. Like, don't ask me to go out, but I'm like that too.
I get so torn. I had to find my balance too, because sometimes people would go out for drinks or whatever after work. And I'm like, Cricket, you're 21. You're never going to work with this crew again. Like, go out. But I also learned myself enough to be like, sometimes I go out and I'm like, I'm so glad I did that. Sometimes I go out and I'm like, I should have probably stayed in because I wasn't like, my levels weren't proper. Like I was like off, like, so it's totally situational, but I just need to find my balance more.
Yeah. And what advice would you give to aspiring actors?
I would again kind of come back to like the trust the processness of it. I think it's just a very tough industry. I think you have to be prepared for so much rejection and so many no's. I'd been acting for 13 years when I booked Big Shot. It's the first series regular I ever had. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, you have to be ready to play the long game, but I do believe very firmly that if something's what you want to do, you can make it work in any capacity. So it's like trusting the process. Again, I didn't work for 5 years before Big Shot. So just trusting yourself and your talent and your ability and trusting that will land you where it's meant to land you is so important. And I think getting started is the hardest part, but I think that it's just such a wild journey, and finding joy and like being able to laugh at like anything and everything can be so helpful. I have cried after so many auditions because they did not go the way I wanted them to. And it's like, but now, in the moment I cried, but now I totally laugh about how I cried because of how it went, because I'm like, who cares? Like, that's so funny, but it's also like, it's also trivial. And like, even, you might feel like you made a fool of yourself in front of a specific casting director, but it's like, this isn't their life. Like, they go home and they have a family. They're probably not ever going to think about you again, or maybe they do. Like, it's just nothing is that serious. I think it's very easy to be like, this one role could change my life. And it's like, but also it's probably just going to be an average Tuesday where nothing comes of it. And you hopefully do a great job performing and then you'll see. So yes, my family also, we're very like submit and forget, which is like just a funny thing that we made up as kids. Maybe my manager said it one time, but it's like, submit your work, like feel good about what you've done, but then like forget about it, because there's no point in like, I never am like, will I hear back on that callback? Like, I just don't think about it. And even with Big Shot, I was so shocked when I got a callback and testing, because I literally was like, me? Are you sure? Like, I just don't remember caring. Like, I don't know. So it's like, and of course I was ecstatic, but I just was like, I because I forgot, I got to get all re-excited again, because I was like, I wasn't like waiting for this call. I used to spend a lot of time waiting for calls that didn't come. So I'm still waiting for those calls. So it's like, I wouldn't live that way.
Oh, I like that. That's such a good way to live. And it's a good reminder too.
Yeah.
Okay. So Big Shot season 2 coming soon. What word would you use to describe the season?
One word is so hard. I would say, I was trying to think of a word that would include like love, relationships, like warmth. I would almost say warmth might be the word of the season. Like just wholesome warmth. I don't know. But I would say you can expect a lot of fun, a lot of laughter, a lot of like good relationship moments, whether it's romantic or friendships or teammates or whatever it is, a lot of good relationship moments, or maybe it's, with coach, like, so I think there's a lot of good relationships, and I think it's a lot of fun. A lot of off the wall things go on, and we get to go to a lot of fun places and do a lot of fun things that I can't wait for people to see. And we have some fun behind the scenes pictures that will be rolling out soon when things are airing. But we've just had such a fun time with this season. So definitely. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully to watch, because it was to film.
You probably can't say, but do you think we'll see season 2 this year?
Oh, I can say, because I think when we filmed it, we kind of knew it would release sometime this year. So I would say that yes, you can count on seeing season 2 sometime in 2022. Yes.
Awesome. Well, I love ending on that note. Cricket, you are such a joy.
Thanks, Stephanie.
This was so much fun, and we'll be keeping an eye on that release date and cheering you on, and Samantha giggles.
Thank you, Stephanie. You were so much fun to talk to, and you have such great questions. I really appreciate it. It's so much fun when people like do the research and like have good questions. I really appreciate it. It's very fun.
Thank you. Oh, you're awesome. No, thank you so much. And hopefully we'll meet in person one day.
Yes, I'm sure it will happen.
Well, thank you so much. And yeah, we'll be cheering you on.
Thanks, Stephanie.